I change my brain? Am I just a victim to who I am? I'm your host, Steve Sisler. Stay tuned for another episode of Behavioral Insights.
So you want to be a better leader. You want to be more connected to your people. You want morale to increase. That's the call I just received from Toronto, Canada. Coming up on Behavioral Insights, how do I increase morale in my organization? Stay tuned. I received a retainer phone call. I have a company on retainer up in Canada. And the gentleman who is running the operation up there called and he said, Steve, I'm realizing something. I know how I'm wired. I know how my brain functions. And I'm, a hunker in the bunker type numbers guy, perfectionist, thinker, analyzer, so not the most communicative type person. But we had some meetings over the last few days, and what came out of those meetings was a realization that the morale in this organization is very low. I've been new in this role for about a year. We're trying to fix a lot of problems and challenges that we've had as an organization over the many years in the past. And we really need, in my words here, a B12 shot in the arm. So in that conversation, I just suggested a few things. So I'm going to share them with you. So if you're in a situation where morale is down, you're a leader, manager, owner, whatever the case may be, you got to understand something about human beings. Human beings are wired for connection. And they're not wired for just a little bit of connection. They're wired for consistent connection. Consistent connection is always the catalyst for trust. And so the more you connect with people, the more you pay attention to people, the more you are interested in people, the better they feel about their contribution to whatever it is you're doing. And I asked this gentleman, I said, listen, think about how many hours these people are working. Think about the work, the physical labor, the mental labor that they're doing for who? For them? No, for you and for your organization. They're putting in 40 to 60 hours every week of mental, physical, and emotional energy. And my question to you is, what are they getting for it? I want you to think about it. And he sobered up pretty quick with that statement. Not that he wasn't sober before, but he felt the impact of what I was saying. People are putting a lot of energy into doing something all day long, 5 days a week, maybe 6. And what are they getting for it? Okay, they're getting a paycheck. Fine. Paychecks aren't bad. They keep us alive. They keep some money in the bank. They keep our bills paid. They keep food in our stomachs. They keep our kids in school. So there's a lot of good that comes from receiving, a monetary reward for the energy you're putting into some form of work. But many people are missing a truck payment. Many people are not able to go out to the theater. Many people are not able to, do as much as other people. And so what are they going to get other than that to help fill in those gaps? And that was a question I asked this leader. And so when they come to work and you find interest in not what they do, but who they are, number one. Number two, how they feel. Number three, you're connected to how they think. So when you speak with them, you're speaking with them in a way that resonates with them as a human being. And so this is how this conversation went. And he said, well, this is really important to me that I do this. It's really important to me that I connect with the people. And then I said this. I'm going to say his name was John, but it's not John. But I'm just going to use the name John so that we can, keep talking without having to use a larger word like gentleman. I want to use a smaller word. So I said to John, John, this is a long game. This is not a short game. This is a long game. So you're going to have to schedule in time with 50 to 70 people. You're going to have to schedule in time with 50 to 70 people every single week for at least 18 months, consistently. No F-ups, consistently. If you can't be consistent, it will be to your demise. If you decide that you're going to do this, you're going to now invest into those people, emotionally. You're making an emotional deposit. You're making a physical deposit because you're being there. If you're going to do that, you can't stop doing it midway through, a quarter of the way through, halfway through, whatever the case may be. You can't stop. Once you start, stopping is going to be worse than if you had done nothing. I said, do you understand me? And he said, yes, I do. I said, okay. You want to buy my book? There's more to management than a big desk. And so he wrote that down. I said, you want to buy Marcus Buckingham's book, who's co-written with Ashley Goodall, 9 Lies About Work, a free-thinking leader's guide to the real world. You want to buy that book. And you want to buy John Maxwell's book, How to Be a People Person. I said, you buy those 3 books, and you take your time and you go through those books, and you absorb that information. The next thing you need to do is you need to figure out who's working in what department in what area of where you're at. And you need to build a model on a whiteboard where they are, how many are there, and when you're going to see them. Now, in the beginning, you can't pour this on because they're going to get suspicious and skeptical, and it's going to be a problem. You have to slowly do it, which means maybe just walking through one of the departments and just greeting some people and maybe talking to 1 or 2 and then leaving within 12 minutes. So they'll find that interesting. They'll want to know what's up. And then when you leave, what they're going to do is go over to those people and say, what happened? What did he say? What's going on? And they might say, nothing. He just said hello. Okay, their brain's going, interesting, not sure what that means. But it wasn't so strong that it puts them off guard or on guard. And then you do that to the different groups. So let's say there's 10 groups. You will do 2 a day for 5 days, and it'll be 5 to 12 minutes per group. That's not a lot of time. And you slowly build. The next week, we're talking 13 minutes. The next week, 14 minutes, 15 minutes, 16 minutes, 17 minutes. Okay? This is incremental. And then when you're doing this, you're not just talking to the same people. You have to make your rounds through every person. If you don't feel that's possible because somebody's not there, there's always circumstances that can disrupt a plan that we have. So you got to be prepared for that. And so that's the process that you go through, and you start, visiting people, and you have to learn about those people. So another thing we implemented on this phone call was, you're going to call me every Friday and talk to me for 10 minutes. And what this call is, it's you checking in to inform me of who you met and what you learned about them that you didn't know before. That's the homework. And if you don't do it, then you're in trouble. And so he made that commitment, which is a really good thing. So anyway, human beings are more interested in what you think of me if I'm doing something for you than they are in what you're paying me to do it. Now, you might think you're not interested. Well, that's fine. When I say people, I mean most people. Okay? There are rules to human behavior, and there are always exceptions to the rules of human behavior. If you're an exception, in honesty, you don't count, because we're looking at more, not less, when we're making change. I'm not making change for 10 out of 100 people. I'm making change for 90 out of 100 people, because those are the people that are going to respond to it. 10 won't, and I don't care. If you're going to connect with people, you have to do it consistently. And you do it by asking questions. How was your weekend? How you doing? Do you need anything? What can I do to help you this week? Do you have any questions? Maybe you see them drive out of the parking lot one night. Maybe you're going to be visiting with that group the following day. Maybe you write a mental note to self, and then you start that conversation with, hey, I noticed you were driving this type of vehicle. How long have you had that? Oh, da-da-da-da-da. How do you like that vehicle? I was interested in getting one of those ones. Whatever. You have to find things of interest that are centered on the decision-making power within the people you're influencing. And this is not made up. This is not you pretending to be nice. This is you realizing you have to take an interest in your people. I had a company, oh gosh, this goes back, about 8 years. It might have been 8 years ago. They started working with me. They were in Atlanta, Georgia, because I remember the owner took me to a pizza place that was sick. It was unbelievable there in Atlanta. Kind of a hole in the wall behind some buildings, and it was a little block building, but the line went around the block, and there were cops there because there's so many people trying to get in for lunch. But anyway, that's a sidebar. So he really implemented everything I wanted them to do. So you need to take interest in the people. You need to take interest in the way they think. You need to take interest in the way they feel. You need to take interest in the way their emotions are set up. And it's not hard to do. I'm going to be creating for this gentleman, for John, in Canada, a diagram that pretty much color codes people types, and then the level of interest that must be taken, or whether you connect with this person tactfully, or you connect with the person emotionally, or you connect with the person logically, or you connect with the person sympathetically. There's different ways of connecting to people, and he'll have basically a chart, and I'm just going to give him some mannerisms to look for when looking at people, and he's going to kind of try to commit this to memory. It's not a lot of information, but it's life-changing information. And so I know I was telling you something, and then I got off on that, and I lost track. I lost track of what I was going to tell you. Crap. Anyway, I'm not rewinding or anything. I don't have time. So the people in organizations, I want to just reiterate this. They need connection. They need you to connect with them. So you have to check in with human beings. You can't just leave the baby in the bassinet on a table. you have to check in with human beings. And this might mean listening to them, maybe offering a course correction in some way, adjusting, maybe pinpointing or advising them on a subject that might have to do with work. It might have to do with their family. So, paying attention to the intersection that is created between the person and real world work that they're doing. It's not what you do. It's who you are. And this is what has to happen. They have to know who you are. And this is what leading is. Leading is, it really is work. And if you don't like this, if the idea of checking in with people bores or frustrates you, that's fine. But you shouldn't be leading, to be honest, because that's not what leadership is. Leadership is taking interest in people. And then through that process of taking interest in people, they feel important. They feel it. They feel appreciated. They feel viable. They feel like when they're coming and doing something, whatever it is they're doing, it's working. And so, social experiments have proven that touching people is important. So I told him the people that are most talkative and their eyes get big when they talk faster, and those who are more animated, they use their hands when they talk. And then those that are very calm and serene, and maybe look away now and again from you, because if you look at them too long and talk to them too long, it looks like it feels uncomfortable, so they might look down or away. You want to consider touching those people between the elbow and the shoulder, so the upper arm. So maybe when you walk over to them, you shake their hand, and then while you're shaking their hand, you take the other hand and you touch them on the upper arm for about 1 to 2 seconds. Do you know that servers in the food industry, if they touch a patron between the elbow and the shoulder when waiting on them, maybe pouring their water, they come up and touch them on that part of the arm and they say, "Do you need anything else? Are we good? You need to check? What I need to do for you?" And you touch them, tips increase about 7%. Just from touch. Touch increases or decreases blood pressure, cholesterol levels, anxiety. So meaningful touch is extremely important. I don't know if you remember this, but I think it was 1987 when the shuttle Challenger exploded in midair and everybody was killed. It took them, I think it was 1994, and it might have been Time or People magazine, where they printed some of the transcript because they found the black box like a long time after and deciphered, what was on that so they could get a better handle or a better idea on what happened when the shuttle exploded. And they could hear the voices on that recorder. And it might have been Michael Smith. I'm not sure which astronaut said this, but it was a male voice. And it was seconds before the final explosion. So before that, they heard a voice say, "Uh-oh." So that means they were clued into something was wrong, really wrong. And then right after that, they heard a voice say this in a very low tone, almost unrecognizable. And they said this, "Give me your hand." Now, I want you to think about this for a minute. These people weren't stupid. You don't get to ride on the shuttle being dumb. These are very smart people. These people had a certain stamina about them. You have to qualify to go into outer space, folks. You don't just go. So through rigorous testing, emotional testing, all the different things they had to do, these were pretty amazing people. But when it was all coming down to the wire, when it became the most important minute in all of their lives, meaningful touch was what came to mind. And so I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how wealthy you are. I don't care how high you are, how high up you are on some leadership totem pole. If you don't know when to connect with somebody at the right time, the right way, then you're not a great leader. Connecting with people is what makes leaders great. Understanding where people are and what their needs are and doing everything in your power to meet those needs is what leadership is all about. It's called servant leadership. Like, how can I serve you? How can I meet your need? What can I do for you, seeing you're slaving all day for me? So you have to think about these things as a leader. I want you to check your own leadership and check your own schedules and who are the people doing everything in their power to make you and bring you the monetary rewards necessary for you to keep this industry or company going. And what are you doing for them? I told him, it would be good just to pick a department once a week and just show up with donuts and coffee for everybody out of your petty cash account and take 10, 15 minutes with everyone and wish them well for the day. So little things. I said on the last podcast that it's the little foxes that spoil the vine. But did you also know it's the little foxes that build the vine as well? So the little things can destroy an organization, and the little things can empower an organization. Big things don't matter. It's always the little things. So take that information. If you need to use it, use it. If not, pass it along. And if you checked your leadership meter and you're running at 80, 70, 100%, good for you. We need more people like you. So why don't you connect with somebody else in the company and show them how to do it? So signing off, this is Steve Sisler, and this has been Behavioral Insights. Thanks for listening.